Interested in super cool Japanese stuff? Check out Jlist by clicking the link down below in the description. Hey guys, GinaChan here. So in episode 19, we get a little bit more insight as to how Yurigami is able to identify parasites. He's not like Shinichi, where a parasite kind of took over part of his brain or part of his body and therefore given him this ability to sense out parasites, but it's more so he identifies them by their demeanor, and because, well, he enjoyed killing people, so he can kind of sense that when something else is able to, or when something else enjoys killing people. He also said that you should be able to identify something that is not one of your own. So humans should be able to identify something that is not human, because, well, you would think that we would know ourselves well enough to be able to do that, but people are a lot dumber than you would think. As someone who truly loves babies, I am invested in Tamara's baby. I'm invested in its well-being. So when Detective Hirama was talking to Shinichi about this baby, he asks, or he says, if you were to admit that you were one of Tamara's relatives, then I would ask you if you were interested in taking custody of the baby. And then he was just like, just kidding. But like he wasn't kidding. But that was more so of a trick to get Shinichi to admit that he's something more than just a human, because the detective is sort of onto him, but like there's no evidence to pinpoint that Shinichi is more than just a high school boy. Also in episode 19, this Parasite task force really starts to make moves and you know, set up this operation to exterminate parasites, not just hunt them down. It's not a manhunt, they said. It's to exterminate this thing, this alien that is not human. So shit starts to really get real, and we're also introduced to Yamagishi, who is in command of the ground forces in this operation, and you don't really get too much insight or, you know, learn too much about him until episode 20, which we'll talk about in a second. But this dude's scary. Like, you can tell whenever someone has a scar like on their forehead, you know shit's about to get real and that he's a real motherfucking dude. In episode 20, we find out just how serious this task force is about eradicating parasites in total. So they set up this X-ray system in which groups of 7 walk out in single file lines, and since parasites typically take over the brain, or they go for the brain, that means that the person that they take over doesn't have a skull. So if they don't have a skull, then they are a parasite in most cases, except, you know, there's special cases like Shinichi, but and the pudgy guy that he made friends with, but that's few and far between as far as we know. But this causes some problems because, well, A, the parasites catch on, and B, it starts to cause a little bit of chaos, because when they killed the first parasite, when they spotted what they presumed to be a parasite, they did not ask any questions whatsoever. They just shot her in the heart immediately. So you can tell right off the bat that they don't care. Like, sure, maybe she could have been human. She could have been human, possibly, but it didn't matter, because if there's any doubt, they're gonna shoot. They're just gonna shoot you dead. So obviously this plan backfires, and the paranoia mixed with the fear and the uncertainty within the task force starts to roll over to, or spread to, the civilians, in which they start to kind of panic because they're surrounded by guns. They see civilians getting shot in the chest, like Yamagishi being ruthless as fuck, as we discover. He shotgunned a dude in the chest when he decided to get up instead of laying down on the ground with his hands over his head. So this dude gives zero fucks about anything. He basically says, if you see anything that you think is suspicious, shoot it. Just kill it. Shoot to kill. Basically, kill any and everything. And that could be a problem, because when you have all this fear and paranoia, you're gonna start shooting everyone. So it's just sort of a big, huge mess at this point. The one part that bothered me was when one of the groups came across one of the head parasite guys, and Yurigami was the only person who had any, I don't know, any sort of idea like what was going on, and he just fucking ran. He took off because he was feared for his life. And since that guy is the one to know the difference between parasites and humans, you would think that the crew would just, you know, run with him, like follow his lead. But they didn't. They didn't at all. They followed this sketchy dude in the hallway when he says we're gonna need more space. Like, wouldn't you think that I don't know, the thought that, oh, this guy wants to fight, maybe he's saying this because he wants to kill us. You would think that that would kind of run through their head, but no, it didn't. It didn't make sense. So he destroys all of them with their own bullets, shoots all of their own bullets back at them, which is pretty crazy. Like, there was a ton of bullets, so it was cool to see, but like, those just got wrecked. Overall, I'd give episode 20 an 8.5. I'm really curious as to what the mayor is going to do, because a group of them just walked in on him standing alone in a room. So we shall find out. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, subscribe for more anime reviews and stuff, and go follow me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram. You can find all the links down below in the description. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you next time.